Welcome, race fans. This is Ron with Bigg Wizurd TV, and we have got a show for you tonight. We're here with the Procraft Racing Series of Formula One Series here. This is season number 2, race number 2, and we are running historic tonight. We've got the old Lotus 79s out on track, and we're running at Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California. I've actually been to this racetrack. Beautiful place, very dry, very dry in the desert of Northern California. Camera can't decide on who it wants to watch and be the most exciting, so I guess we'll help it out and tell it to calm down. There we go. All right. So welcome, everybody. Appreciate you being here. We've got Formula One race extraordinaire here tonight for you. Let's go through where we're at and what we're doing, and then let's go over what happened last week. Now, last time. It's actually a few weeks ago, right before the holidays. I could not be in the booth that night. I was actually out of town working, so I couldn't do that one. But today, we are running the Wine Country Historic Grand Prix. This is Procraft Racing. Procraft Formula One Series, sponsored by Procraft, makers of fine audio and recording equipment. If you have a show to do or want to build your own studio or anything close to that, anything with audio, video recording and broadcasting and all those things of live events, these guys have it. Procraft is the company, place to go. They sponsor our race. They are the one and only sponsor of Procraft Formula One iRacing Series. Here at Bigg Wizurd TV, we got a few more. We've got grandpaskitchen.com out there. We've got Stair Fittings Incorporated out there. And of course, Bigg Wizurd TV itself. Bringing you all the action tonight. Thanks for joining in, tuning into the race. If you're out there in TV land, let me know what's going on. Let me know if you are out there and watching, and give me a comment or two. Let me know if I'm an idiot or if I'm good at this, or whatever you want to let me know. I'll let you talk, and I'll try to answer. If you want to know something about the cars, about the race, about the track, about the teams, about the league, I'll do my best. So we are, as I said, we are at Sonoma Raceway. We're going to be running tonight. We're going to be running 38 laps. In the Lotus 79. The car, the Lotus 79, here it is. And it's not cooperating, but hey, that's okay. There it is, the Lotus 79. I got a nice pink one there for you. 1978 Formula One car. So that's why they're running the historic series here at Procraft iRacing Series. The Lotus 79 won the Formula One Championship with Mario Andretti in 1978, I believe. I have to double check my facts. I wish I had Statman here help me out. But Wine Country Historic Grand Prix Sonoma Raceway, definitely a track that has seen all kinds of racing. I'm not sure if these cars actually race there, but since Formula One is currently off season, we can race where we want, and we'll throw it up on the air so everybody can see it. What do you think of that? Let's see. Here's the track. There is the racetrack. 12 turns, although that's debatable. A couple of them are numbered twice, and a couple of them are missing numbers altogether. So, but 12, they call it 12, even though there's a 9A without a 9, 11A without an 11. And a 3 and a 3A. And 12 doesn't look like much of a corner, but hey, here we are, 12 corners. Let's go around a lap. Let's watch them go around. No DRS and no tire compounds tonight. This is going to be old school, straight up. They're going to just be out here running the laps. So that's how we race in the historic series. So let us jump in a car. How about we jump in one of the cars out here. Is Adam Novotny on track? He is our quick guy out here. Let's jump in the cockpit and see if we can get a lap around with Adam. He is coming up to the start-finish line shortly. Here he is in turn 11A. Following his teammate Morgan Teggy, Adam is the quickest driver on the track so far in practice by 0.2 of a second over Bob Wallace. Here he goes up the hill, turn 1. Turn 2 is very treacherous. It's an off-camber flips angle turn. Oh, and he loses it a little bit. Let's keep going with Morgan. Let's keep going over turn 3. Also a little off-camber, little tricky corners, turns 2 and 3 and 3A there. Those are definitely treacherous turns. And around through the carousel here in turn 6. Nice bank corner as he goes by Bob Wallace in the 666. And then onto the drag strip just for a brief second. Off for the corner. This corner here is quite a bit higher speed in the Formula cars. You have to slow down quite a bit for those in the GT cars or NASCAR that races here. Through the S's, down the hill. Now there's about 170 degrees of elevation change here. Turn 10, I believe where it just was, is the lowest point on the racetrack at 14 feet above sea level. And I think it's turn 6, turn 5, between 5 and 6 is the highest point. There it goes. That finishes a lap. There's one lap around with Adam and Morgan. As the guys are still warming up, getting things ready to go. We've got just about 10 minutes left in the practice session, and then we'll jump into qualifying. So let's see what happened last time. Last time we were at Red Bull Racing circuit, and Morgan Teggy took the pole. He's up there again today. He's in third, 0.4 back of his teammate Adam Novotny. Christian Bishop finished in second spot, and Bob Wallace in third. Ed Smith, Philip Scott in fifth, followed by Theo Bishop, Todd Schwartz, Chris Tartamella, and Will Edwards. And only 9 drivers were in there last week. We've got 10 so far today. They've still got a few more minutes to join, but it looks like that's who is going to be there. Let me see if I can get you the teams. Space Sheep Racing is Christian and Kelly Bishop. Christian in the 26, Kelly in the 69. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of those cars. Looks like he's in the pits. There's Kelly. Purple and black. Very elegant paint job here on this car. Procraft paint job with the NASA logos on the side. That is the same paint as well as Christian is running. Coast to Coast Racing is Theo Bishop and Will Edwards. Will is out here on racetrack. He is in 7th place, 2.5 seconds off the pace tonight. And then Theo Bishop in 9th. Now Will's running the Red Bull paint. Theo is running, let me see if I can find him out here, the 36 car. He's running the John Player Special paint job. Now this was an actual paint job that was driven by winning race driver Mario Andretti. So really cool that he's sporting the John Player Special paint. Really cool looking car. Black with gold lines, very clean. Sliding around quite a bit. This is a pretty slippery racetrack out here. I don't think the guy in the pits is the most exciting iRacing. I think you need to work on something. I love it when iRacing has no idea what's going on. There we go. Alright, that's Coast to Coast Racing. Theo Bishop, Will Edwards. Audi Romeo, Chris Tartamella. Now Chris said earlier he wasn't going to make it tonight. And his teammate Tim Barnhart also not on the track tonight. Harry Lama Racing, Brandon Dooley and Chris Springer. I don't see those guys out here tonight either. They're going to be falling behind in the points because they were not here last week either. Rust Belt Racing, there's Morgan Teggy and Adam Novotny. Those guys definitely putting up the numbers in first and third in the practice session. Eagle Race Team, Vincent Tramontana and Phil Blackburn. Vincent was racing with me earlier. I'm not sure if he's going to make this one or not. And then Zero Fox Given Racing, that's Skylar Vickery and Bob Wallace. Bob is on track, running some very fast laps, hanging up there with the fast guys. Daewoo Racing Development, Steve Banting, Ed Smith. Don't see those guys on track tonight, and they've gone plaid. Autism Speaks Race Cars. Todd Schwartz, son Sean Williams. Todd was here last race. I do not see them out here tonight. Philip Scott is independent, no team for Philip Scott. He is on track. And I think he did race last week. P5 for him. Running in the independent. No team tonight. No team this season so far for Philip Scott. I guess if you want to sponsor him, give him a call. He's on multiple Discord servers with us. I'm sure he'd be happy to have a sponsor and have a team. Track facts about Sonoma. Let's see. That's not really going to be helpful there. First built in 1967, so definitely would have been around for the Formula One series. Trying to see if they ever did them. They did not. They did Can-Am back in the 70s and 80s. But it doesn't look like they ever did Formula One here. They did do a lot of IndyCar in 1970, as well as 2005 to 2018. IMSA is probably the most driven here. 1976 to 1990, the IMSA Grand Prix. And then NASCAR has been running here since they ran from 1995 to 1998. And again, last year in 2022, so back on track for NASCAR. Definitely IMSA with the most races. Moto America with the motorcycles has definitely got the most racing. 2.52 miles on the racetrack, 12 turns. Race lap record in an LMP1 car. 2005 with a 122. These guys are beating that. So that was full course. IndyCar course 2020, 2012 to present. That's probably about the track we're running now. And Dallara DW12 IndyCar 2017, Simon Pagino clicked off a 118.3, and that is quicker than anybody's running tonight. And that, I believe, is the 2.385 miles that we're running tonight. This same configuration. So let's see. Lots of guys have raced here. Formula One. I don't think that says unofficial. I don't think that ever ran. Ferrari F 2004 in 2019. Must have been just an exhibition type race, or an exhibition track, or maybe a historic race. So, yeah, there you go. That's Sonoma. Sonoma. Sears Point, also known, yes, originally as Sears Point Raceway. That's correct. 1967 to 1980. Golden State Raceway in 1981. Infineon in 2002. It's back to Sonoma. They do have the road course. They do have a drag race track here. I've actually been there and watched a Super Chevy car show and drag race. Pro Mods drag race. Really cool cars. At this very racetrack. All right, well, we're just about done. We got about 4 minutes or so left in the practice session. Let's see if we got any other cool track facts out here. Not seeing a whole lot. They're saying that it is definitely one of the busiest race circuits in America. Something going on there almost every weekend. Racetrack has been sold multiple times. And tonight we're racing the historic Formula One 1978 Lotus 79. It actually released in 1978, the Lotus 79, and it has some unique characteristics on the race car that were new to that car in 1978. Let me see if I can get you an example. You can't really see it that well there, but the side pods, if you can see, there's little grooves along the top of those side pods to let the air through. Now there's also tunnels underneath the car, under those side pods, to allow for more airflow, which allowed for better aerodynamics. Now, if you remember what an Indy car or a Formula One car would look like back in the 50s and 60s, they were basically just a tube, and eventually they put a little rear wing on the back of it. But it was a tube with an engine and a driver, and that was it. There was no side skirting. There was no aerodynamics underneath the car. And with this car, they brought all that out, and the downforce is greatly improved, and also the safety, because now you could do what the Formula One drivers love to do, which is go fast, and they could also have a little more downforce. Now, it didn't end all of the troubles Formula One has had over the years with drivers losing their lives in race cars, but it did greatly improve it. They also, because of Jackie Stewart in the 70s, stopped racing a lot of those racetracks that were extremely dangerous, like Nürburgring's Nordschleife, and they made purpose-built racetracks over Europe that helped keep the drivers in the race car instead of in the ground. So very happy about that. And the safety has come full circle now with the Formula One car of today. The W13 in the Mercedes camp. I mean, everybody's got the new 2023 car following the 2022 model. In 2021, we saw one of the most horrific race crashes in, I believe it was Bahrain, with one of the drivers that hit the wall, and the car actually got stuck in the wall, caught on fire, a big ball of fire, and Romain Grosjean, the driver, was able to get out of the car, and he was even stuck in the fence and was still able to get out of the car. A true testament to the safety and concern that the racing industry has for the drivers. If you recall, a couple years ago in the Daytona 500, one of the drivers at the very last lap, they had a wreck at the very last lap across the start-finish line, and one of the cars had been turned upside down and was T-boned right on the driver's door and the driver's window, and that driver also was able to get out of that car and live. So the funny thing about that one is that driver was also an engineer, and he designed that bar that saved his life, the extra piece of roll bar that was added lower than the top of the car in the window frame that kept that car, saved the integrity of that car and saved his life. Lots of great things have happened over the years in safety on these race cars, and we are glad for it. Here, we don't have to worry about that. This is iRacing. This is all digital. This is as fast as you can go. And if something happens, you just hit the button and put the car back in the pit lane. As you can see, the cars just kind of appear on pit lane. There's no real crew. There's no real car. It's all virtual, and allows these guys to go and have a lot of fun with nowhere near the amount of money it would take to drive these cars in real life. So here we go. We got qualifying started. We got 11 laps of Qualifying available to the drivers if they jump out and get them in. This is 15 minutes on the clock, and the clock is ticking. So here we go. We got a warm-up lap, and then these guys are going to go flat out. We'll see who's got the quickest car here for the qualifying session. Now these guys are going to run it right on the edge. They've got low fuel. They're probably running about 2 or 3 laps worth of fuel to keep the car as light as possible for qualifying, and they're going to run it as hard as they possibly can to get the quickest lap time to start up front. It's very, very hard to pass on this racetrack. It does not have a lot of good passing zones. So the trick here is to start in a good spot and stay in that good spot. So you have to start fast, and stay in control, because these cars can easily jump out on you. Tire wear is going to be huge. They do have enough fuel tonight to go to the end. That wasn't the original plan, but they do have enough fuel in the car to go from start to finish if they choose not to stop. But the tires will definitely be worn out by the time they get to lap 38. And many of these drivers are going to be coming in for a pit stop to get new tires. Now, they may or may not take fuel. I'm not sure on that. The tire change on these cars is pretty fast, so they might, I mean, if any lighter fuel is faster, so they might go ahead and take the light fuel off the start, put a half tank in it, or half race of fuel in it, as we see Christian hanging on around the, oh, nope, Christian not hanging on around the carousel. But they might go with a lighter fuel load at the start, come in and get tires and get some fuel, get some old go-go juice halfway through, and get some fresh tires on it to see if they can keep those lap times up. You'll see some fall off on the lap times, but these guys are definitely going to be pushing as hard as they can. Formula One by Procraft, the iRacing series here on YouTube TV. This is Ron with Bigg Wizurd TV, bringing you all the action. We're just getting started. Warm-up laps are now completed, and here we go, as Bob Wallace will be the first one across the line, and he's going to start his lap. The first one down, Adam Novotny takes the flag a little quicker at the end of his lap, 120.3 so far at the top, and that's pretty close to where they were in practice. And there goes Ed Smith with a 120.003 in the 605. Boy, Ed showing up on this one. With a blistering lap from Daewoo Racing Development. He wasn't here earlier, so he's a late entry in the race, and definitely somebody to watch as we run these cars. Ed is a master at this Lotus 79. He's really, really good at racing this thing. Adam needs about 3/10 as Ed spins out after his lap. Going to go back to the pits and fire it up, get the fuel back in it, and start it again. Here he goes. He's coming out now. If you watch the track map on the top left, you can see the car numbers as we go. Here is Adam Novotny in the 326. He is going to try to beat his last lap time. Usually only get about 2 good fast laps for a tank full of, with how much fuel they put in it. Here goes Bob Wallace again. Does he improve? No, not this time. And now Adam Novotny crosses the line and does improve, but not enough. 120.2 that time. 120.250. But not quite quick enough. Philip Scott showing he's in the game, equaling Bob Wallace with a 120.5 in third, and Bob Wallace in fourth. Those guys are only, oh, and there's Philip, just dropped down a 119.9. He is on fire with that one. Finishes up a very fast lap. He's going to go refuel it and try it again, but a 119.9 as Morgan Teggy joins the 120 club. We've got 4 drivers at 120, and Philip Scott on the top. And there's a 5th one. Christian Bishop just runs through at a 120.843. This is going to be tight tonight. These guys are on it, and on it is fast. Now, Philip's going to have to do another warm-up lap because he went in the pits after that. He's going to have to refuel. So everybody's probably right now getting another little set of fuel in the car. resetting the car. And they're all going to come back out. Here is Morgan following Bob Wallace in the Red Bull 666 car. Bob's on an out lap. Morgan is on a hot lap. But I don't think Bob's going to move over and let Morgan have a quick one. Morgan can use the draft. He's supposed to let him by here. Not happening. That is going to be a point of discussion. The stewards are going to have to look at that because with Bob on an outlet. But Morgan ends up going into the pits, so maybe it was okay. They do have communication on the racetrack. They can talk to each other. Now, Morgan may have been running a hot lap and just backed off of it. We don't know at this point. Will Edwards, also in Red Bull paint, starting up his fast lap. As Morgan resets the car and comes back out on the racetrack in the 88 car. Oddly enough, right in front of Bob Wallace. Bob's on the hot lap. This time Morgan lets him by to let him complete his hot lap. So Bob's trying to pick up that 0.5 seconds. The Zero Fox Given Racing, Bob Wallace is the only driver out here tonight. Skylar Vickery is not with us. Bob is holding the team together, though, with a P5 so far, 1/2 second off the pace of Philip Scott with a 119.9. We'll see if anybody else has anything for that. Ed Smith with a 120.0, right on it, less than 5/6. That's 0.06 of a second difference in the times. Adam Novotny with a 120.2, Morgan and Bob with a 120.4 and 120.5. Christian with a 120.6 now. He's picked up a couple tenths. As we watch Bob complete his lap in the 666 and Morgan start his lap. We'll see if Bob returns the favor and lets Morgan go by after he completes the lap, which is an improvement, but not much. He goes 120.4, does move up into P4 ahead of Morgan by just 0.02 of a second. Philip still holding on to that top spot. Philip is on track. 26 Christian Bishop just crosses the line, and he does not improve. 120.689. Go back to Morgan. I think Morgan's teammate, Adam Novotny, was the quickest in practice. We'll see, but he did run in the 119s. We'll see if Adam's got it for him here. He's coming out on an outlap right now, so we'll watch him in just a minute as he's finishing up his outlap right about now. Here comes Philip Scott again, and Philip does not beat his time. Oh, and Morgan goes around, does a little pirouette 360 and keeps going, but that lap will not count. You cannot make mistakes. He'll get a 2x for that, or a 1x at least, for spinning out on that one. Let's check over to the teammate, watch him go up turn 2. See if he's got one. You never know who's got the lap and who doesn't. Now Christian's coming around to finish up another one. He's trying to improve. 120.689 is his best time so far. Still 0.7 of a second off the leader. Comes across this time and does improve slightly, but not enough to change positions. 120.521. Theo Bishop has spun in the S's. Philip Scott will be our next car across the line. He has the pole, provisional pole so far. See what he can do. Coming around turn 12, or turn 11, that is. The hairpin's turn 11. This is turn 12. And across the line, 119.9 was as fast as before. Does not beat that. And here comes Adam, trying to improve on a 120.2 and does. 119.826 takes the pole position away from Philip Scott. That was a lap. Here comes Ed, not to be outdone with a 120.0 on his last attempt. He's coming across, just starting his lap right now. He's got all the way around to go to see if he can retake that top spot. He is 1/10 of a second off the lead. Christian Bishop comes by once more. Does he improve? He does not. 120.5 is the best he can do. Bob Wallace does improve on his lap in the 666. Now, Bob just ran a 120.2, but still 4/10 of a second away from Adam and that lightning fast lap. So they've only got a little over 3 minutes left to get these laps finished. Let's see. Adam's coming around again. Usually you don't get two fast ones right in a row. He does spin coming off turn 11. I don't know if he lost it enough to lose the time on that one. I doubt he'll have a quick lap that time. Might have to go back in and get some new shorts and some more fuel. As his car is loose, he's in the dirt, and he will be trying it again. He does have enough time to go around one more time to do a warm-up and a lap. Here comes Theo Bishop coming across the line with a 124.6 is his best time so far. P10 for Theo. Let's see, who else haven't we watched so far tonight? We got the 888. He's in the pits. Will Edwards with a 121.7. 605, 326. Philip Scott in P2 still. Coming up the hill here, this is 3 and 3A. Very, very off-cambered, wide corner. Down into the infield section, catches the grass. That might be enough for an off-track. Not sure, but you cannot have an off-track in qualifying. Your lap will be disqualified, and it looks like that was the case. Because as you can see, Philip Scott has decided to abort the lap. Kind of like aborting a rocket launch mission. As he flies through the air. Let's see. Kelly Bishop just finished another lap. 123.0 is his best so far tonight. P9 for Kelly. John Downey running a 122.5. 2.7 seconds off the pace for John. All these guys have the exact same car. They can have different setups in them. So depending on your setup, you can get a little bit more downforce, a little bit more control in the car, a little looser. The guys that run them loose run them fast. So if you try to make the car stick a little better, you'll probably lose a little time on that. But here he comes, John coming across the line one more time. We'll see if he can improve on his 122.5, and he does. Moves up a spot, 121.1. Great lap for John. That was a full 1.5 second improvement. Will Edwards is going to have to get back out there if he wants to do any better, but he is in the pits. He is thrown in the towel on qualifying, as well as Kelly Bishop. He's in. Adam Novotny is still out. Nope. Looks like these guys have called it. There's 1 minute to go. Adam is still out there. What happened? Here we go. Adam is still trying to improve. He's got less than a minute on the clock. If they're on the lap that they're on. Oh, and there he goes. He goes around. And that'll end Adam's chances. Now Morgan P5, I don't think he's happy with that. I think he was expecting to go a little quicker. We'll see if he can improve on this lap, but this is his out lap. He's got to cross the line in the next 29 seconds, which he will. He does have enough time to make it across the start-finish line. He's going wide to get a good run off the start. And here he goes. He's going to try this one last lap, as the time will expire as he crosses the line, but this lap will count as Morgan comes across to start his final flying lap of the qualifying session. Theo Bishop going to finish his lap and try to improve. He's at a 124.6, has not improved the last couple laps, but he's out here cruising right now. We'll see if he does any better. And then we'll go watch Morgan. The session has ended. These two drivers are the last two on the racetrack and the last two that will get a counted qualifying lap. So here comes Theo coming across the start-finish line now. Around the hairpin turn 11. Across turn 12. And that turn looks a lot more like a turn when you're watching it. than when you're driving it. And Theo does not improve. So let's jump over to Morgan, the final driver on the racetrack, coming around the hairpin, down through the S's, tries to keep as much momentum as possible. We've seen a lot of guys lose it through this section. And he was definitely loose. He was doing a little extra steering there, a little positive lock holding the car together. As he comes down through the last hairpin, turn 11, cuts it nice and tight, gets a good exit. Across turn 12 and across the start-finish line, he's looking for better than a 120.441. Does he get it? He does, but not enough to move a 120.099. That's 3 drivers at 120.0. Ed Smith, Bob Wallace, Morgan Teggy in the back of that pack. Back by just 0.09 of a second from Ed Smith. There it is. There's your starting lineup. Adam Novotny will be on the pole alongside Philip Scott. He will be on the outside of the front row. Ed Smith and Bob Wallace will be on row 2. Morgan Teggy, Christian Bishop will be on row 3. Now, Morgan won last week's race with Christian in second. We'll see if that repeats itself this time. John Downey, Will Edwards on row 4. Kelly and Theo Bishop round out the field in row 5. We've got just another minute or so as these guys get their setups configured and the cars on the track. As there we see Adam take his spot on the front. Now these guys are standing start, so they'll be jump and run. Whoever gets the best launch, these cars have, the tires have to go. The tires have to last 38 laps, and these tires have to make it. If they change tires, it will take a little longer on the pit stop. We'll see how they do it. We'll have to watch. The strategy will be tires versus no tires, and how much extra time that is going to be in the pit lane. There's no tire strategy other than that. We don't have different compounds in the historic Formula One series. We just have tires, worn out or not. We'll see how it goes. So as we wait for them, they get about 3 minutes to line up. So we're going to have to sit and wait and watch. And we'll see how this goes tonight. So we'll give them one more little bit. Here we go. We got them all lined up. The green flag will pop on the screen as it goes. They got the cars revving up. They got ready for that green flag to drop. The lights will go red and off, and there they go. They will go when that light goes green, and we'll see it. A little puff of smoke off the tires. Some of the cars may slip and slide a little bit and lose some ground. We'll have a really good angle of that right here with this camera angle and get to see what happens to them off the start. Usually we can hear them revving them up. And then you can see Bernie, the flagman. There they go. They're getting ready. Now the lights are red. And as soon as those lights go green, they're going to go. You can hear the cars revving up now. There they go. There's the green flag. Oh, and Adam doesn't start at all. Misses it completely. Philip Scott with a great jump. Gets out front. Ed Smith right behind. Oh, what a bad start for Adam. He did not want that to happen. But Philip Scott does take the lead, but Will Smith, oh, and he cuts off into turn 3, just barely misses him there. Christian Bishop also with a great jump off the start, jumps up from P6 to P3. Ed with a great turn in off of turn 4. Oh, and Philip hanging on. Philip Scott currently out in the front position. He is going to be able to hold off these guys around the carousel, down into the drag strip, and through the hairpin. We'll see who gets the jump off the hairpin corner, down the straightaway, and into the S's. Looks like Philip Scott's still out in the front. This is a close run. 0.2 of a second behind for Ed Smith. Another 0.3 of a second back for Christian Bishop. Morgan Teggy took P4 off of that and gained the spot ahead of his teammate, Christian Bishop. Also pulled up into P3 from P6, so the order has changed. The order will flip here as they cross the start-finish line. On the screen, you'll get the updated standings. Looks like Christian's taking the wide entry and tight exit off of turn 11 in the hairpin. Everybody's still pretty much bunched up. Adam does have a chance to gain some spots back, but he did lose some positions there off the start. Philip Scott out front now. Ed Smith, Christian Bishop, Morgan Teggy, Bob Wallace, John Downey, followed by Adam Novotny is our top 7. And then the 888 of, let's just look. Will Edwards in 8th, followed by Kelly Bishop and Theo Bishop, who are in the back battling right now together. Looks like Kelly has a little bit of advantage over him, but let's go back up front as Philip Scott has lost the lead. Now let's see what happened there. Sorry, I don't have my replay piece in, but let's see what happened as Philip comes around. Starting lap 2, he has quite a lead. He's got a nice 0.4 of a second lead over Ed Smith, but Ed takes advantage as Philip gets loose here at the top of 3 into 4, I think it is. He goes a little wide. There he goes and gets a little loose, has to correct, and the 2 drivers go right on by. We'll jump back to live as we see Ed Smith holding on to the front spot in the 605. Followed very closely by Christian Bishop. See, this is how Christian does it. Christian is not necessarily, as you see, he wasn't the fastest driver out there. He was 6th in qualifying, but look where he is now. We're on lap 3 and he's in P2. Christian is an extremely intelligent driver. He's out there putting down the laps and getting in the good times. He does get in the dirt right there, and Philip is saying, I got none of that for you. I'm going to go right around the outside as he tries, but is not able to hold on. Gets out a little bit into the marbles there coming around the carousel and has to give that position back. But you can tell Philip is on the charge, and he's wanting to make up for that mistake he had earlier as they come down into the hairpin of turn 7. Double apex hairpin there at turn 7 at the bottom of the racetrack. Ed Smith holding on to the front spot. Christian Bishop in 2nd. Philip Scott in 3rd. Morgan Teggy in 4th. And that's the running order so far, with Bob Wallace moved up to P5. Christian going long into the corner, and that does work out for him. But no gain with that move. But the 2 of them have broke away just a little bit from the pack. We've got about a second between 2nd and 3rd. Morgan Teggy moving in. Bob Wallace and Adam Novotny has recovered up to P6 and is right behind Bob in that front chain of 6 cars. So here is Ed showing some strength over turns 2 and 3, and pulls away to a 0.9 second gap. Just like that, they were neck and neck across the line, and Ed just grabs the lead, grabs that gain, the gap out in the front. Good job for Ed. Line astern right now going through the bottom hairpin turn number 7. There's 2 hairpins on the racetrack, so there's the turn 7 double apex hairpin and the turn 11 hairpin right before the start finish line. There are multiple configurations on this racetrack. You can make turn 7 a single apex hairpin, and you can make it a double apex hairpin in 2 different spots and follow the drag strip a little more. Christian looks like he's got a better advantage here on the second half of the racetrack, and Ed has the better advantage on the first half. The question's going to be, as we just complete lap number 4 and start lap number 5 here with the leaders, the question will be, in 38 laps, after 38 laps of racing, who is going to have tires left under their car to be able to get to the finish first? That is going to be a key factor. I think it could be any of these 6 drivers. Ed currently out front, running a great lap, but is he using those tires up to get that great lap? His last lap time so far was fastest lap time so far is a 1:22.0. Not quite the 120s we were seeing in qualifying, but remember, these guys now have full fuel, or at least half fuel, to get them to the pit stop or to the finish. As we watch them in order: Ed, Christian, Philip, Morgan, Bob, Adam. Coming around, we've got, I believe that's 6 teams. Ed in the 605 running for Daewoo Racing Development. Christian is in the Space Sheep Racing team. Philip Scott is independent driver. Morgan and Adam are both. Oh, and there goes Ed, loses it in turn 11. Will that make a difference? Can Christian capitalize on that? Oh, and Adam Novotny does the same. Coming off that corner, he was trying to gain on Bob, but looks like Ed managed to hold on. Although it is a lot closer this time around as he comes up the hill. Nose to tail this time. See if he can pull away through this turn 3-4 section like he did the last couple of laps. It looks like Christian is hanging in with him this time by. Yeah, there's no room there. No room at all. Christian is within 1/10 of a second as they go up and into the carousel. Can Christian take advantage? He's got a little straightaway section down here. Will he be able to get a draft on Ed and get him coming down to this hairpin? Big braking section down here. He goes wide on the exit of the carousel down into the hairpin. No, he cannot really take any advantage, but he is getting a good run off that exit of the hairpin through the S's. A little wiggle, and loses that 10th that he had. Back to a 3/10 of a second lead. These guys are having quite the battle up front. As Ed Smith still holding them off. Christian's definitely got a good run down that straightaway, but not enough. He comes almost to the tail. Philip Scott also watching the back of Christian's car, not wanting to give any room in case he might have an opportunity to get back up to the front. Let's go through the field here as these guys are running it nose to tail. We've got, like I said, this is Ed Smith on the point in the Pennzoil car. Oh, and there's a pass for third spot. Morgan Teggy gets by. Philip wide again in turn 4, the same place he was wide before, and loses another spot to rival driver Morgan Teggy as Morgan, cool as a cucumber, gets by into P3 in that. I know it's here somewhere. Rust Belt Racing Lotus 79. Let's see if Morgan has what it takes to catch up with these guys. Now, last week, Morgan finished up front with Christian right behind. Right now, it's Christian in second and Morgan in third. So the battle is definitely on. Now, here comes Bob. Bob's going to dive it down to the inside of Philip. Will he have enough? It looks like he will. He's going to have a great run off of that corner. Philip taking the wide line, and he's going to battle back across the start-finish line. Does get the position back. Wow, what a great move. Philip back into P4. Almost goes from third. Oh, and there's a car off. There's a car off. 2 cars off. That's our leader and Christian Bishop. Oh, man, we got to go back, replay man. We got to go back. Coming across the start-finish line, Christian trying to make a move, goes wide into turn 1, up the hill, into turn 2. He's on the inside. They do make contact, and off they go, both of them into the dirt, and that's going to be a problem. These cars are on. You can see it pretty good from that angle. They do have dealing damage, so they will be able to keep going. But it looks like Christian did make contact there as he was trying to make that pass. I'm not sure who would be at fault there, but that is going to put, I believe, yep, as no surprise there, Morgan Teggy taking advantage of the incident between between the 605 and the 26. That'd be Ed Smith and Christian Bishop. Morgan Teggy takes advantage, and he is going to take the checker or the green flag coming by this time and into the lead, followed by Philip Scott, Bob Wallace, Adam Novotny. Now that puts Adam back into P4 from his bobble off the start, where he didn't appear to have the car in gear off the start. But here comes Morgan. Can he do what Morgan does, and that is just put distance between him and the field? Right now it's just a half a second. Philip is not letting him go. Bob is right on Philip's tail. This is still anybody's race. The 605 of Ed Smith and the 26 Christian Bishop, they did get back on track. They are not that far back. They're only about 8 seconds off the lead. So hopefully they'll be able to get that going again. Let's take a look. We were about to go through the field, and then everything happened. Yeah, Christian's only 5.5 seconds behind fourth place, so the race is definitely still on. These guys could easily make that up during pit stops. It looks like now the battle here is for second. Bob Wallace is in third, and he wants P2 away from Philip Scott, and he wants it in a bad way. Another great run off of turn 11 for Bob, but not enough as Philip gets a great jump through 12 and across that start-finish line. Let's see what we got coming up the hill at turn 2. Everybody looks pretty clean. Going through the kink here at 3 and 3A. Philip looking real strong and putting 0.6 of a second, half a second gap here between him and Bob Wallace. Philip's danger spot going in there into turn 4 as he dives down into the infield section up into the carousel. That is where he's lost a couple positions, but luckily he has managed to get himself back into P2. I would say by the fault of Ed Smith and Christian Bishop getting together. Not sure who was actually at fault for that incident. I'm not the race control. I don't make those decisions. I'm just showing you what I see, calling them as I see them. It looked to me like Christian got onto the inside, couldn't quite complete the pass, lost control, bounced into Bob, or bounced into Ed, but there is probably some post-race drama going to happen on that one. Let's see how it goes. Morgan leads the race. Philip Scott in the 99 in P2. Bob Wallace in the 666. No Fox Racing out here holding the flag for his team, being the only driver out there tonight. And he is in third spot, currently sitting in podium position. Adam Novotny in the 326. Running for Rust Belt Racing. He is definitely saying, I want that podium spot. That is mine, as he's trying to catch and pass Bob Wallace. But Bob is definitely holding his own. Pretty strong here in the Lotus 79. Back in 5th position, we go to Ed Smith in the Pennzoil Chaparral paint. You're watching him run through the carousel here. After his incident a couple laps ago, he is back into P5, 5.9 seconds off the lead, losing ground just slightly to Morgan. Morgan, Philip, and Bob holding real close together now. 1.4 seconds separate those top three. In P6, we've got Christian Bishop not where he wants to be. We'll see if he can make up some of that time during the pit exchange or just by quick lap times. In P7, the 888, Will Edwards running a really good lap. He's 20 seconds back off the lead, running really strong lap times. 122.9, just about a second off the leaders. And holding his own here in P7 against John Downey right behind him with the chase, right? I mean, John is just 1 second back, trying to make that, shorten that gap. There's no push to pass. There's no DRS. There's no extra boost of any kind. It's just you and the gas pedal and making it around the racetrack clean. And that's how you do it. That's how you get your laps. She's got up within 0.8 of a second. A little wobble there through 3. It's going to put him back to a second back into 4. Theo Bishop in the 36 has gotten ahead of Kelly Bishop. Kelly has fallen back. He must have had an issue early on. There's Theo in the 36. John Player Special. Beautiful paint job, as I mentioned before. Watch him go into the carousel up over the hill here. And then Kelly Bishop in the Procraft sponsored NASA purple and black paint scheme livery. And that is your order. That is the 10 that are out there. 88, Morgan Teggy still out front by just a half a second or less. Philip Scott not wanting to give that up. He is definitely holding on and running strong. It's a little bobble there by Morgan. Goes over that curb. Philip looking really smooth here as he's got the tires warmed up now, and he's running some really good laps. Let's watch this from Philip's car as they're coming through the carousel. And that's what 0.4 of a second looks like, half a second. Is the time between the two cars. It's like Bill could use a tear off on his visor. Coming up to the last hairpin, turn 11. He gets really close, but if you see the time doesn't change, that is just because they're going slower. The distance is shorter to make the half-second time. The time doesn't change much when they're just sitting here a half-second apart. Coming up and over turn 2, off camber, off balance corner, down into the kink of turn 3 and 3A. You can hear him just barely on the gas. Looks like he's got that turn 4 figured out, and he's right there with him, 0.6 back. So this is Philip chasing Morgan Teggy. Philip in second position. Morgan out at the point, and these guys are starting to put a little gap. Now, one thing we can see now is that Adam has picked up P3. Adam has gotten by. I don't have a replay box tonight, so I don't want to sit here and go backwards and see where that happened, but it was somewhere on the last lap. Adam gets past Bob Wallace, and that is for third spot. And there was some smoke back there, but I don't see anybody out of position. I do see Ed Smith trying to gain some ground, but I think these leaders are getting away from him a little bit. We are approaching halfway. Will they make any changes? Will they come in for tires? We're going to have to watch as things unfold. Morgan Teggy out front here on lap 15. Followed closely by Philip Scott in the 99. Then Adam Novotny in third. Bob Wallace is in fourth position, followed by Ed Smith in the 605. Pennzoil Chaparral had a little bump earlier with Christian Bishop, but now is back on track and racing quite well. Put in a fast lap so far of a 121.5. Morgan with the quickest lap so far of the race with a 121.0. All 6 of the top drivers have put in a lap time of 121. So I'm going to switch this. Where's my mouse? I'm going to switch this over to fastest lap times. Huh. Well, that's because that. We're going to flip over to last lap time. And this will kind of tell you relatively where they are right now. Now, Morgan's lap time, the fastest lap of the race so far, was just last lap. So his last lap time of the 121.0 was pretty quick. Ed Smith with a 123.8. You can see he's still falling back from the leaders. He's not running those quick times as he was earlier. Maybe tire wear? I'm not sure. The top 4 are still running those 121s. Christian Bishop is also struggling, but I think that may have been the lap that they went off on, because Ed Smith just ran a 121 lap time, and Christian is probably going to run similar as he goes across the line with a 122.1. Maybe he's saving fuel. Maybe he's saving tires. you never know with this guy. Always has a strategy and always has a plan. Let's see. Morgan up front, followed by Philip Scott. Now Morgan has gotten himself a little bit of a gap now. With about 0.8 of a second. Philip is still right there. Definitely keeping him honest, but not able to really gain on him right now. As Morgan locks up the back tire going into the hairpin. Philip with a great run off the hairpin. Turn 11 closes that gap right up to 0.4 of a second. Can he take advantage as they go across the line? Philip with a great run down the front stretch goes wide into turn 1, trying to get alongside as they go up the hill into the off-camber corner turn 2, but does not make any move at that point. Decides to stay in position. Not going to throw them both into the corner like the earlier incident with Christian and Ed. Adam Novotny has pretty good control of P3 here. He's got about a 1.5 second lead over Bob Wallace in P4. Now Adam started off the race missing the gear. He missed the shift off the start and did not move, allowing 5 cars to get by before turn 1. So he's definitely trying to make up for that lost time at the start and doing a great job. Moved up into 3rd. Bob a little over a second behind in 4th. But Bob's having a great night tonight, doing just an excellent job out on the racetrack. I'll have to see what's all over the side of his car at some point. I think this is the close-up camera that I can get. Can't really tell what it is. Bob in P4, just over a second back from Adam Novotny in P3. Now Ed trying to do his best to gain. He may have gotten some tire damage when they went off the racetrack. I'm not really sure, but he is 9 seconds now behind, or 5 seconds behind Bob in 4th, and he is 10 seconds behind Morgan up front. No change to the top of the board, although this battle between Will Edwards and John Downey is still hot. Has been from the drop of the green flag and still continues now, just a 0.5 second gap. And Philip Scott also closing that gap up on the front, back up to a 0.5 second as well. Will Edwards holding on to P7. John Downey not able to get by. They go through the carousel. Both of these guys running really clean laps. Trying to save their stuff, keep it to the end of the race. Lap 18, we have passed halfway. Oh, and here goes John down on the inside. He's going to try to make this move. They get close, but he does not make the corner. Oh, and hits the curbing on the exit boot and allows Will to stay in P7. Wow, what a move by John Downey. Does not make it stick, though. And Will Edwards holds on to that spot. I don't see any other change, although I do see Kelly Bishop in the pit lane. And he will probably be getting some fuel and some tires. And out he comes now in the back, and that was the leaders who just went by. So he is now a lap down. So Kelly not having the race he wanted to tonight, but he should be good to go here to the end of the race. As we go back up front, Morgan Teggy still with a 0.5 second lead over Philip Scott here. I watched these guys race in multiple leagues. I've seen them race in 3 different leagues together, and both of these guys are top-notch drivers. Morgan Teggy has won multiple championships. He's always in the fight. He's always up in the front. Whether he gets the qualifying round and starts on the pole or not, he always finds a way to get up the front. Philip Scott, the same way. He learns as he goes. I've never seen another driver learn the racetrack during the race. I mean, he learns it and he knows the racetrack, but he improves constantly throughout the race on the racetrack. As you saw earlier, he was having a hard time with this turn 4, and now just cruises right through it and keeps that 0.6 of a second, half-second gap to Morgan as they go in and through the carousel. So Philip, definitely a champion, has won also a couple of the series that I've watched him race in, but class driver, learns, like I say, learns constantly on the racetrack. Morgan goes real wide through that turn 7 hairpin and loses about 1/10. So I'm not sure that was the right way to go through there if he intended to do it that way. Maybe he was trying to get a little momentum for this long straightaway because he just picked up 2/10 going down the S's. Adam Novotny showing some incredible speed and discipline here in 3rd position. Now, Adam, like I said, he's had a bad start, but he has regrouped, regained, and has caught these guys. He is just a second now behind Philip Scott and has been closer. He is really fast in the second half of this track. Philip is amazingly quick on the first half of this racetrack as he goes into turn 4. Once again, but you can tell it's either the setup of the car, which one handles better through these corners and which one handles better on the long straights and the S's. Oh, as we got a car wide, that's Theo Bishop. He's a lap down. He gets out of the way though and does not play any factor at all in this battle up in the front of the field. That looked a lot nicer, a lot neater, tighter, cleaner as Morgan went through, but Philip still gains ground and pulls up within 0.3 of a second on the leader. As they go through the S's and down into the hairpin, turn 11. Philip usually has a little bit of advantage here, but Morgan with a great line and a huge jump out of that corner just picks up a couple tenths as they go. Philip seems to have a really good run across the start-finish line. We'll see if that comes into play later on. We are on lap 22 of 38. They do have enough fuel that they can go the whole way. They do not have to stop for fuel. There may be a mandatory pit stop in this. I do not know if that rule is in play today, simply because they have they managed to get the fuel, enough fuel they don't have to stop. So hopefully they've got that question answered. They did post it in the Discord server chat earlier, but there was no answer in Discord for that. Typically they will have to stop, so I would think that a pit stop's required here during this race. Morgan out front, Philip Scott in second, Adam Novotny third, Bob Wallace in fourth, Ed Smith rounds out the top 5 as we are running lap 22 of 38 at Sonoma Raceway with Procraft Formula 1 iRacing Series, brought to you today by Bigg Wizurd TV on the air, sponsored by Stair Fittings Incorporated and grandpaskitchen.com. Some great racing action up front. This has been non-stop right since the drop of the green. There's been action right at the point. Really no lack of race drama so far. We've had a couple bumps, couple incidents, and Bob has dropped back to 5th behind Ed Smith. Now Ed has gotten back by. I'm not really sure how what happened there, when that happened. We were watching the leaders and didn't see that incident, but it is quite a gap. 10 seconds the gap, so Bob must have had an incident and gone off the racetrack. Allowed Christian to catch up. Christian is currently in P6 now, right behind Bob Wallace. Christian's trying to get as many points as he can. He came in second last week. Does not want to finish down in the order in 6th tonight, so he's going to try to make that difference up here during the exchange. I know they're going to have to. They should have to make a pit stop. We'll see how that goes. Has the top 3 all within 2 seconds. Will they all keep concentration all the way around? This is lap 24. No errors. You can't make any mistakes out here. One mistake will throw you to the back. And that battle for 5th is still hot. It's Christian trying to gain the spot from Bob. Down into turn 4. We'll see who gets the advantage here. Looks like Christian's got a good run into the corner. Bob looks like he's holding his own on the exit. No change there. 0.2 of a second is all that separates these two drivers as they go through the carousel. Easy to lose it though. You can see Christian just barely trying to hang on to that. I think he's got his tires worn down from trying to catch up. I think he's worn some stuff out. He might have to go in and get another set of tires here during the pit stop. And it's tight at the front. Philip Scott comes alongside. He usually gets a good run here, but Morgan has the better spot. But there goes Philip around the outside. That's close. Morgan does have it, but just by 0. Dead even at the stripe. Morgan gets the run up the hill in a better position into turn. Whoa! Adam loses it just about behind him, but he loses it and loses some ground, but not that much. Philip's still right there. Adam trying to make that a 3-way battle for the lead, and doesn't. But a great save. Excellent save. We'll keep an eye on this up front to see how these leaders do, and we'll also keep an eye on that battle for P5. If either one of them, if P5 gets close and seems like there's going to be a change, we'll jump over. Right now, the action's up front. These two guys are going at it, nose to tail, lap after lap after lap. We're completing lap 25 of 38. When will they come in? When will they make their stop? Not yet, as they just crossed the stripe. And did not go into the pit lane. There is one of the drivers in the pit lane. That is that Kelly again? No, that's John Downey. John Downey in the number 5 has come in to make his pit stop. That's going to free up Will Edwards from that battle. As the leaders go up through turn 3 and 3A, Philip with a great run down into turn 4. Morgan just holds it off. Not going to let him go. And Adam has caught the two of them again. Adam looks like he is the quickest of these 3. A little bobble a couple laps ago coming into turn 2, or on the exit of turn 2. Put him back a little bit, but he is right back up with these guys and looks like he has got something. Maybe he's got some tires left for this battle with Philip here. And try to put his race team for Rust Belt Racing back to the front. 1-2. Can he do it? Looks like he's got the attention of Philip now. You can tell. Philip is looking in his mirror and he's checking this out. He's losing ground to Morgan and he's checking out that mirror a little more with Adam, just 0.3 back. As they come down into the hairpin, he's right there with him. Philip goes in deep. Adam with a good run. He's got a good launch off of this corner. I don't think he's going to have enough because Philip has a great run across the start-finish line. But Adam is right there with him now, and he is going to battle this out for P2 as they start lap 27. Who's got the better turn 2? Oh, and Adam goes Adam goes around. Oh, frustrated to no end. Adam goes around. Ed Smith is going to catch him in the 605. He's going to try to make this a little bit of a battle. and see if he can gain P3 after his incident early on, taking him out of the lead. And see if he can gain on Adam. Now, Adam having a problem there with that turn two. That turn two corner is off camber. When you get up over the hill, the track banks the wrong direction. It just kind of flops over. And it, you're kind of coming up over the hill, and then the banking goes away. So it's very hard to figure that one out. And looks like Adam needs a few more laps of practice to figure that out. He is really struggling with that corner. The battle up front, unchanged. Philip now with the mirror clear, and Adam not in it, is able to focus forward as they finish up lap number 27. Morgan Teggy out in the front with Philip Scott 4/10 behind as they go across the stripe and start lap number 28. Thank you for joining us here at the Procraft Formula 1 iRacing Series. This is Ron with Bigg Wizurd TV. We're live on the air, and we are sponsored by Stair Fittings Incorporated at Bigg Wizurd TV and grandpaskitchen.com. Procraft Formula 1 Series. This is also my broadcast from another league. Oh, and there goes Ed Smith ahead of... Oh, nope, somebody went in the pits. Bob Wallace drops back to P6. Christian Bishop gets ahead. That was the battle I was going to watch for you. And wouldn't you know it, I didn't. But that was just crossing the line. We'll watch the pass, as this is Bob out in front, Christian behind. This is for P6 on the racetrack as they come up turn 2. Bob goes a little bit wide. Side by side into 3. Oh, and Christian just dives down on the inside. Bob has to let off and let him go. And that is the position. That's how it happened. We'll get back up to live. Sorry about the no replay screen in front of it. I'll work on that for next week. But here we are live again on lap number 28. And Christian has definitely taken away P5 from Bob Wallace. And looks like he has that one. Up front, Morgan Teggy still holding off Philip Scott. You wonder, does Philip, being in second, is he saving his tires? Is he biding his time and waiting for the right time to get by? They also, I believe, they have to make a pit stop. Let me turn on pit tracking. See what's up with that. Kelly has lap. Kelly has pit. Nobody else has come in. Kelly may have come in. I thought John Downey. Yeah, John Downey came in on lap 25. I thought he had to come in. I thought these guys had to come in, but maybe not. Maybe that. Oh, down into the hairpin they go. But so far, no one else has come in the pits. So, not sure if that rule is in effect today because they didn't do the fuel. They didn't put the fuel in the car the way they wanted to today. So, oh, and there's a bobble off of turn 2. Oh, and perfect opportunity for Philip to get by, and he takes it. He spins as well. As you can see, turn 2 is the toughest corner on this racetrack. Morgan gets a little bit loose. Philip tries to take advantage, gets on the gas, and comes around himself. Both of them save it and keep it going. And that's 1-2 in order on the racetrack. Adam Novotny now pulled away from Ed Smith here in third. His last lap was a 1:20.678, his quickest lap of the race so far. Ed Smith, P4 after that early on incident, lost the 3 spots, has not been able to gain any of those back. If it was an issue where the tires were damaged and they're not going to make a pit stop, then that is unfortunate. If that was the case, they were going to pit. He would have pit a long time ago. So I'm going to go with no pit stop today as they start lap 31. Up front, still same picture every time around. Morgan Teggy just a few tenths ahead of Philip Scott. This picture has not changed in quite a while. Adam Novotny in third, Ed Smith in fourth, Christian Bishop in P5, Bob Wallace was up front early and now in P6. He just took over P5. Okay, come on, guys. If you're going to make something happen, you got to let me know what's going on. And there it is. Christian coming off of turn 3A. Gets loose. Into the grass. Bob goes by. Christian comes back around, cleans it up, keeps it going. You know, if you guys are going to make mistakes and spin out, you got to just like throw me a throw me a flag, give me a little note. Help me out. I can't see everything at once. Oh, and the 88. That was the 888. Goes flying by John Downey. John may be slowed on the racetrack. Will Edwards in 7th, a lap ahead of John Downey, so that was not fast for position. And this will be interesting now as the leaders are catching up with Kelly Bishop. Just 2.5 seconds now between Morgan and Kelly Bishop in 10th. Kelly is 1 lap down. Kelly 2 laps down to the leader. And possibly going to be 3 before this one's over. Leaders working lap 32. Morgan picked back up to about a 1 second lead now. He's got a little bit of a gap now against Philip now. Philip may be saving some tires, getting a little, cooling them down a little bit, trying to get back out after it. We'll see how this turns out. Morgan's definitely tough to pass. He's tough to beat late in the race. Kelly Bishop just kind of pulls out of the way and lets these guys go by as they enter into turn 1, up the hill through the little corkscrew into that off-balance section of the racetrack. You can see a lot of rubber down there on the racetrack. A lot of cars losing traction there. Morgan still out front. Adam Novotny, after his spin earlier, has not been able to catch these guys. He's now 4 seconds back off the leaders. He's gaining slightly, but definitely not where he was earlier and not in that same position. Christian probably not too happy with his move earlier, allowed Bob Wallace to jump into P5 uncontested as Christian was in the grass. Christian in P6. Not his night in the Lotus 78. Lotus 79. Sorry. My bad. Will Edwards in the 888. Still on the lead lap. Plenty of room out in front. 45 seconds. So he's still got about 30 seconds or so to the leaders behind him. Yeah, 32 seconds back to Morgan. He will definitely stay on the lead lap as they finish this up as long as he keeps it clean. Will Edwards in P7. John Downey, he is a lap down in P8, as well as Theo Bishop, who is 30 seconds behind him in P9. And Kelly in P10, I think he's just letting Adam Novotny by there. Adam in P3. Still trying to catch Morgan. 4 seconds back still. Not really able to gain a whole lot of ground there. It's tough to catch up. If you wear out your stuff, you've worn it out. There's no way to get it back. So that's why it's important to let the car cool down a little bit. Keep your lap times clean. Stay on the track. Don't hit the dirt. Don't slide around too much. Keep those tires in good shape so you can have them all the way to the end. These guys are running them all the way to the end. Still running 120.7 last time by and a 120.8. These guys are still within 0.06 of a second on their lap times. And right together as they go around the hairpin turn 11 to complete lap 34. Novotny getting through lap traffic. Not as well as he would have wanted as he slows down for the 36 of Theo Bishop. Oh, and there goes Philip. Philip wide coming off that corner. Let's just back that up real quick and see what happened there. Just comes off the carousel and just gets, a little snap. The car gets loose. He does correct it, but does go wide. Loses the ground there. Loses some ground to P1. That's going to put a 3-second gap there now. And that might give Adam a little bit of hope to be able to catch him, but he's still back quite a ways. He's still got 3 seconds to catch Philip Scott. But that gives Morgan the breathing room. Morgan can now set the pace for the last 3 laps of this race. He can control the gap. He's got a 3-second gap back to the second place driver. Philip's definitely not going to give up. He's going to push, but he will not probably be able to make that gap up on Morgan. We'll see, though, as this isn't over yet. We're on lap 36 of 38. There are 3 laps to go in this contest. Sonoma, the historic race for Procraft Formula One season number 2. Morgan currently leads the points and leads the race. That's going to give him another gap up in the front, going to put him into the championship pretty solid here after 2, with 2 wins if he can hold on for another 2.5 laps. You can see the gap. That is 2.7 seconds. Morgan runs clean laps and stays within a second of Philip's time, and that will be all he needs to do. He's just got to stay there in those 121s, and Philip can run the 120s. He still won't have enough time to catch him with just 2 to go as they go through the S's and down into the hairpin one more time. Coming through turn 12. 2.9 seconds. He's just managing that gap. He's got him still right there where he wants him. 2.9. He's not able to gain a whole lot. 120.8 and a 120.9, just within a tenth of a second of each other. And Morgan's liking that because he's only got 2 to go now to finish this one up out in the front. That little bobble by Philip on the exit of the carousel was definitely what Morgan needed. That's a stress reliever. Now he's got to stay focused and not lose the edge. If he does here, then he'll definitely give that gap back and we'll have a battle for it. Racing with Morgan for a couple of years now in simulator racing, not typical for him to do. Of course, not typical for Philip either, but that little snap, that little wiggle made it so he had to do a little correct. A little pause seconds is all Morgan needed to get the comfort zone going. And these 3 right there in the picture, you saw them just for a moment. Morgan Teggy, Philip Scott, Adam Novotny, 1, 2, 3 in the historic Formula One race at Sonoma. Wine Country Historic Grand Prix, Sonoma Raceway. Race number 2. As Morgan takes the white flag, comes up the hill for turn 2, one more time around. For Morgan Teggy on this one, the 888 has stopped. Got going again, that was Will Edwards. Spinning out on the exit of the carousel. That is a very tough corner. And Will managed to spin that out, but didn't lose any spots. He is still in P7 ahead of John Downey. but now it's a lot closer than it was. I don't think he'll have a problem holding on. Here comes Morgan down into that double hairpin, turn 7 one more time, last time through for him. Philip Scott still 2.7 seconds back. Adam Novotny gaining on Philip, but I don't think he's going to have enough to pick that up. Still 2 seconds back off the P2 driver. Through the S's, down into the hairpin, turn 11, one more time through for Morgan as he comes out of the hairpin and hits the gas. Down the front stretch, across turn 12 and across the start-finish line, and there it is, the win. Win number 2 for race number 2 for Morgan Teggy. Philip Scott takes the second spot. Adam in third. Uh-oh. Ed Smith. Well, that was Kelly Bishop getting by. Bob Wallace right behind Ed. Might have some trouble here. Is Ed under power? Is he all there? Oh, and Bob Wallace goes by at the last, right at the last minute and gets that spot away. Not sure if Ed had run out of fuel. Oh, but not what Ed wanted to see. Great recovery for Bob. Picking up that P4. Christian Bishop, P6. Ed Smith is P5. Did cross the line, but not before Bob snagged that P4 away. Christian Bishop, P6. Will Edwards in 7th. John Downey. This is Will coming across the line right now for P7. John Downey right behind. And he is in P8, but he is a lap down to Will. And there it is. That's the race. That's the finish. Morgan Teggy takes the win. Philip Scott in second. Adam Novotny on the podium for third. There are your 3 podium finishers right there together on the racetrack as they come down and should do a little photo op. Little photo stop here on the start-finish line. Watch these guys come around. They did not go in the pits, so I think they're all on track with the program. They didn't have to take a pit stop, so this one was pit stop free, and 38 laps with Morgan out front. Philip Scott in second with Adam Novotny in third. And there they are. There's your finishing order. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Ron with Bigg Wizurd TV. Let's see if we can go grab some of these guys in the booth. I'm not sure if they're going to or not. We'll see if anybody comes down to the waiting room. I'm not sure if they will. We can jump up in. Oh, he's gone. I don't see. Oh, there he is. Hey, Morgan. Hey, Morgan, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Probably not as good as you.
You know what? That absolutely was a gift. I just lucked out on that one because Adam and Phil were definitely faster than me. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a little bit of like dust or marbles or something on my tires, and these tires were so heated up that I was just like, they were completely shot, and so I just tried to get on the power like every other lap, and I just like went sideways and tried to save it. Thankfully I saved it, didn't wreck or anything, but yeah, that yeah. 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 I tried to cut a little too much to the inside, and that's kind of what did it. And so then I that made my knee kind of get loose. But oh yeah, this was a blast. I told Morgan this is probably the hardest I've ever raced for a win. This even tops what how hard I had to how hard yeah, honestly, like when I held off Morgan on strategy at the Roval and GT3s, I had to just sling my car around everywhere trying to defend, and I'm pretty sure I fought even harder in this one because these cars are a beast to drive, and that's kind of what I like to do.
And nope. Start calling that the Novotny start. I've done that, I don't know, a handful of times now. Yeah, went to go and then was like, oh wow, not going anywhere, and then lit them up as soon as I put it into first gear. Oh yeah, I came around the first lap in 7th. No, not at all. Yeah, I want to see that replay. Yeah. Yeah, I did a little practice session right, during the practice, just like checking tires, and I think I only did 25 laps and was in the 60s. So my strategy was just to try to save tires as much as I could, and then of course I spun, I think the same place they did. That really screwed me. It was like right when I caught Phil and Morgan, but the tires actually felt really good at the end. I was able to do 219s my last 2 laps. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Morgan did an awesome job staying clean. Phil too. These cars are so hard to drive here. Yeah, it was a blast.
I like annoying cars.
Thank you.
Sorry. Nah. I got lucky. I maintained that one.
Yeah, that was blessed.
Yeah, thank you, Ron.
Well, there you have it. That's the race. That's the competition. Morgan Teggy takes the win. Philip Scott second place. Adam Novotny in third. Let's go to the stats. Let me save this real quick. And we'll get some statistics up here for you. There we go. Morgan Teggy out front. Fastest lap. Let's see, 120.2, 119.9 from Adam Novotny. That is the quickest lap of the race, and he did that on lap 37, right near the end when he was trying to gain. Look at the incident count. 1 incident for Morgan, 2 for Philip, and 3 for Adam. In the order that they finished, that's how many incidents they ran. Bob Wallace with 0 incidents tonight grabs that spot away from Ed Smith. I think he ran out of fuel there at the end. And then Ed Smith in 5th, Christian Bishop, Will Edwards, John Downey, Theo Bishop, Kelly Bishop are the 10 drivers in the field. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Ron with Bigg Wizurd TV on behalf of Procraft Formula One iRacing Series. I want to thank everybody for joining in. Our sponsors, grandpaskitchen.com and Stair Fittings Incorporated. For Bigg Wizurd TV, I want to say thanks again for watching and have a great night, everybody.